Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Monday, July 7th, 2025, and you're listening to Alex's News. The weather in Riverside today will be warm, with a high of 91.3 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 63.9 degrees. It's a good day to stay hydrated and perhaps plan indoor activities or seek shade if you're spending time outdoors. Coming up on today's show, we'll be discussing why a growing number of people are expressing concerns about the safety standards of pharmaceutical products manufactured overseas. We'll also explore the factors contributing to the current nervousness observed in financial markets, specifically relating to evolving trade policies. All this and more coming up on Alex's News. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. We begin this morning with a critical look at the safety of the medications we all rely on. There are serious concerns brewing about the quality of drugs, especially those made in foreign factories, following significant staff cuts at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Joining us to break down this complex story is our investigative reporter, Ethan. Ethan, this sounds like a real pill to swallow for consumers, doesn't it? What's going on at the FDA?
Grace, it certainly is a tough pill. We're seeing intense scrutiny after major workforce reductions at the FDA. Overseen by U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. According to detailed investigative reports, primarily from ProPublica, these deep cuts are compromising crucial oversight capabilities and could very well be endangering public health.
Endangering public health is a stark warning. Can you give us the timeline and scale of these cuts?
Absolutely. Back in April of this year, so just 3 months ago, Secretary Kennedy Jr. initiated a massive restructuring. This led to the layoff of over 3,500 FDA employees, which is roughly a 15% reduction of the agency's total workforce. Secretary Kennedy Jr. stated, and I quote, "These cuts were to realign the organization with its core mission," end quote, according to ProPublica's reporting. However, HHS initially claimed FDA inspectors themselves were not impacted and that inspections have, quote, "not been affected," end quote. This assertion, Grace, has been directly contradicted by the experiences of 10 current and former FDA staff members interviewed by ProPublica.
So the official line doesn't quite match what those on the ground are saying. What specific areas felt the immediate impact of these layoffs?
The most immediate and concerning impact, Grace, stemmed from the dismissal of nearly 70 crucial support staff individuals. These were the people responsible for coordinating the complex logistics of foreign inspections. Think about it: travel, budgets, translators, and all the other necessities that ensure an inspector can actually do their job overseas. This included the complete elimination of the FDA's Travel Operations Division. According to ProPublica's reporting by Victoria Malice, Catherine Daly, Sadie Light of Medill Investigative Lab, Debbie Senzaper, and Megan Rose, only about 1/3 of these vital personnel have been rehired. This has forced already busy managers and inspectors to take on these administrative burdens, diverting valuable time and resources away from their primary duty of scrutinizing manufacturing plants for safety and quality violations.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster. So instead of inspecting, inspectors are planning travel? What have the immediate consequences been?
You've hit the nail on the head, Grace. One former FDA inspector, Patrick Stone, warned to SheSiteMag.com that, and I quote, "things will be missed," and, quote, "we are going to have a lot less safe drugs," end quote. The fallout was swift. In the week immediately following the cuts, less than 60% of the agency's planned foreign inspections were completed, leading to what sources cited by BeckersHospitalReview.com and CBSNews.com called a, quote, "cascade of failure in oversight," end quote. A pilot program for unannounced inspections was also reportedly suspended due to the disruptions. Beyond direct inspection support, the layoffs extended to technology support and facility staff, causing day-to-day operational issues, even simple problems like obtaining replacement computer mouse batteries or being locked out of offices, according to ProPublica.
It sounds like the system was already fragile before these drastic cuts. What were the pre-existing vulnerabilities the FDA was facing?
You're right, Grace. These recent layoffs have cast a harsh light on an FDA inspection system that was already grappling with significant, quote, persistent challenges, end quote, as identified by the Government Accountability Office, or GAO. Even before April of this year, the FDA's investigative unit struggled with chronic understaffing and retention issues. Between 2022 and 2024, approximately 105 new inspectors were hired, but a similar number left the agency, leaving only around 230 inspectors for thousands of facilities worldwide. Experts believe an additional 100 to 200 experienced investigators are needed, according to ProPublica. Compounding this, the GAO found that about one-third of the existing inspectors lacked the experience required for independent foreign inspections.
So, they were short-staffed, losing experienced people, and even those they had weren't always fully equipped for the job. Was there also a backlog of inspections?
Absolutely, a massive backlog. This situation was significantly worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic. As of September of last year, so about 10 months ago, approximately 2,000 U.S. pharmaceutical manufacturing facilities and over 340 in India and China had not been inspected since before the pandemic, according to fiercepharma.com. There were also long-standing issues. Historically, inspections were often pre-announced, sometimes weeks in advance, allowing foreign manufacturers to temporarily address deficiencies, potentially masking their true operational conditions. The reliance on translators provided by the facilities being inspected, as noted by the GAO, also raised concerns about the accuracy and completeness of collected information.
This paints a pretty grim picture. What did ProPublica's investigations uncover about these systemic failures?
ProPublica's extensive RX Roulette series and Threat in Your Medicine Cabinet investigations, published in June and July of this year, brought damning evidence of these pre-existing systemic failures to light. These reports revealed that the FDA had, for years, allowed drugs from foreign factories with documented safety violations, including contaminated facilities, falsified records, and dirty equipment, to be imported into the U.S. In some instances, the FDA granted exemptions to import bans, ostensibly to prevent drug shortages, even when its own inspectors warned of dangerous manufacturing practices. ProPublica's analysis linked these exempted drugs to hundreds of complaints, dozens of hospitalizations, and several deaths, including the tragic case of Joe DeMeo, whose kidney failed, potentially due to a transplant drug from a banned factory, as reported by ProPublica. The frequent recalls of foreign manufactured products due to issues like microbial contamination further underscore the program's long-standing shortcomings, according to dcatvci.org.
Those are shocking revelations. Given that most generic drugs are made overseas, what are former FDA leaders saying about the impact of these cuts?
Grace, former FDA commissioners Janet Woodcock and Margaret Hamburg, along with the agency's longtime head of drug safety, have emphasized that the loss of support staff fundamentally undermines the FDA's ability to safeguard the drug supply. This is particularly critical given that most generic drugs used in the U.S., including chemotherapy agents, sedatives, and antibiotics, are manufactured overseas. This crucial point has been highlighted across multiple reports from ProPublica, Politico.com, and CBSNews.com. The thought of potentially unsafe life-saving drugs making their way here is truly sobering.
Indeed. So what is the FDA's counter-strategy to address these criticisms and operational disruptions? Is there any silver lining?
There is a partial reversal, Grace. The Department of Health and Human Services announced a partial reversal of the layoffs. Some food safety scientists, and significantly, a number of the support staff crucial for foreign inspection logistics, have been informed of their potential reinstatement. An HHS spokesperson attributed the initial, quote, erroneous layoffs to inaccurate data from the department's human resources divisions, as reported by CBSNews.com and Biospace.com. Furthermore, the FDA has unveiled a new, multi-pronged strategy designed to maintain and even enhance its oversight of overseas drug manufacturing, aiming to counter the premise that staff reductions will inevitably lead to less safe medications. This strategy also aligns with a Trump administration push to bolster domestic pharmaceutical manufacturing while increasing scrutiny and fees for foreign manufacturers.
That sounds like a step in the right direction. Can you tell us more about this new strategy?
A core component of this strategy, announced in May of this year, 2 months ago, is the expansion of unannounced inspections at foreign manufacturing facilities. This practice, long standard for domestic manufacturers, aims to, quote, level the playing field and eliminate a, quote, double standard in regulatory enforcement, according to FDA Commissioner Martin A. McCary, as quoted by food-safety.com and pharmaceutical-technology.com. The rationale is that unannounced visits provide a more accurate snapshot of a facility's day-to-day compliance with good manufacturing practices, thereby exposing, quote, bad actors who might falsify records or conceal violations, end quote. This shift is expected to lead to an increase in Form 483s, which are inspectional observations, and warning letters to non-compliant foreign firms.
And I hear they're even introducing AI into the mix? That's quite a modern approach.
That's right, Grace. A key enabler for this strategic shift is the introduction of ELSA, a new generative AI tool launched last month, in June of this year, as reported by the AITRack.com and ChiefHealthcareExecutive.com. The FDA states that ELSA will use risk-based analysis of historical data and other information to identify high-priority inspection targets, thereby allowing the agency to allocate its limited inspection resources more effectively. The tool is also designed to streamline internal processes for FDA staff, such as summarizing adverse event reports and comparing drug labels, potentially freeing up valuable time for investigators. FDA officials have cited significant efficiency gains, with one scientific reviewer reportedly completing a task in minutes that previously took days.
So AI to pinpoint issues and free up staff. What about the logistical hurdles of doing more unannounced foreign inspections with fewer support staff?
To address those logistical challenges, the FDA is increasingly relying on modern technologies. This includes the expanded use of remote regulatory assessments, or RRAs, a tool that gained prominence during the COVID-19 pandemic. RRAs leverage video conferencing, file sharing, and other remote access technologies to conduct virtual examinations of facilities and their records. This approach offers enhanced efficiency, flexibility, reduced travel costs, and improved global reach, as detailed by McGuireWoods.com and MorganLewis.com. Additionally, the FDA is reportedly exploring the use of AI-powered optical character recognition to extract data from documents obtained during these remote assessments, further streamlining the process. While not a complete replacement for in-person inspections, RRAs and other alternative tools like remote record reviews are seen as ways to maintain oversight and gather crucial information without the need for physical presence in all cases.
It sounds like a cutting-edge plan, but do these new measures truly address the core issues and the severe staff reductions? Are there still doubts?
Despite the agency's optimistic outlook and the announced reinstatements, Grace, a chorus of current and former FDA officials and industry experts, has voiced significant concerns. Critics, including those interviewed by ProPublica, doubt whether the new measures, including AI and unannounced inspections, can fully compensate for the deep cuts to essential personnel and infrastructure. Some former officials have starkly stated that the, quote, FDA as we've known is finished, end quote. Concerns have also been raised about the rapid rollout of the, quote, ELSA tool, with warnings about insufficient, quote, guardrails, and the technology's potential for, quote, hallucinations, meaning erroneous outputs as discussed by clinicalleader.com. The logistical hurdles of expanding unannounced inspections remain formidable, particularly in countries where obtaining visas and making travel arrangements can be complex and time-consuming, a challenge exacerbated by the reduction in support staff. The long-standing issue of relying on translators provided by the inspected facilities also persists, raising ongoing questions about the accuracy of information collected.
It's clear this is a multifaceted challenge with no easy solutions. Ethan, thank you for breaking down this incredibly important story for us. We'll be keeping a close eye on this as it develops.
My pleasure, Grace.
That was investigative reporter Ethan. We'll be right back with more news after the break. Stay with us. We turn now to a developing story impacting global financial markets. Asian markets have taken a hit as investors react nervously to impending trade deadlines. Joining us live in the studio to break down the economic tremors is our business reporter, Chloe. Chloe, what's shaking up the markets today?
Grace, Asian financial markets experienced a significant downturn Monday, July 7, 2025. Anxiety over the Trump administration's looming tariff deadline is the cause. The White House pressures trading partners to finalize agreements before Wednesday, July 9th, just 2 days away. Higher tariffs could then be implemented.
Just 2 days? How are Asian indices reflecting this?
They're feeling it. Japan's Nikkei 225 shed 0.6%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index edged down 0.2%. The broader MSCI Asia-Pacific Index declined 0.8%. Only South Korea's Kospi Index managed a modest 0.3% gain.
Interesting. Can you elaborate on the origin of this uncertainty with reciprocal tariffs?
It stems from the expiration of a 90-day pause on President Trump's proposed, quote, reciprocal, end quote, tariffs. Announced April 2, 2025, this proposed a baseline 10% tariff on most imports, initially causing market panic.
So the 90-day pause was a temporary fix?
Yes. Implemented April 9, 2025, it reduced country-specific tariffs for negotiations. This sparked a, quote, significant relief rally, end quote. Now, the clock's ticking again.
And the administration seems determined. What are officials saying about what happens next?
Officials indicate countries without a deal will see tariffs, quote, boomerang back, end quote, to April 2nd levels on August 1, 2025, 25 days from now. President Trump expects deals or tariff notices by July 9th, though extensions are possible.
So, analysts anticipate continued market volatility. What are their main concerns?
The Nomura Group notes the outlook depends on warning letters and tariff rates. Stephen Innes of SPI Asset Management states, quote, the path forward isn't clear, but the terrain is littered with risk, end quote. Investors weigh actual implementation heavily, tired of this, quote, tariff ping-pong game, end quote.
A tariff ping-pong game. What factors contribute to this unease and wider ripple effects?
Unpredictable trade policy creates persistent uncertainty. Belief the administration will follow through for credibility, plus geopolitical tensions like the BRICS levy, contribute. Economists warn of a potential global recession. Oil prices fell and U.S. stock futures were down Monday.
Trade tariffs truly impact every facet. Can you detail some counter tariffs from key U.S. trading partners?
The, quote, reciprocal tariffs, end quote, policy instigated complex counter tariffs. China's conflict persists. The EU prepared countermeasures, ready if U.S. tariffs on European cars aren't resolved. It's potentially a real carnage. Canada and Japan also implemented retaliatory measures. The situation remains incredibly fluid.
It sounds like a high-stakes trade chess match, Chloe. Thank you for giving us such a comprehensive look at the global economic landscape and what's driving these market movements. We really appreciate your insights.
My pleasure, Grace.
Here are some other headlines. In London, a city is pausing to remember. 20 years to the day after the 7/7 bombings, King Charles III is leading the nation in solemn commemorations. This is for the 52 people killed and more than 700 injured in the coordinated attacks on the public transport system of the city. In a message, the king praised the extraordinary courage of first responders and citizens. He said their actions remind us of the best of humanity. A minute of silence was held at 8:49 this morning. This was the moment the first 3 bombs detonated on the Underground Railway. Prime Minister Keir Starmer said that those who tried to divide the nation failed. He echoed a sentiment of resilience that continues to keep London on the right track. Next, to another international hotspot, Syria. The United Nations has deployed assessment teams there. Devastating wildfires are raging along the coast. Hundreds of families have fled the fast-spreading blazes in the Latakia province. These fires have scorched an estimated 24,700 acres of land. Firefighting efforts are tragically complicated. Unexploded landmines from the civil war in the country are present. This creates an extremely explosive situation for the Syrian civil defense crews on the ground. Neighboring Turkey and Jordan have sent helicopters. This provides much-needed aid from the air to battle the inferno. In India, tens of thousands gathered to wish the Dalai Lama a happy 90th birthday. This proves his spiritual message has a truly global following. The celebration in Dharamshala featured messages from former United States presidents and an appearance by actor Richard Gere. In his address, the revered leader reiterated his commitment to compassion. He has lived in exile for over 6 decades. He said he felt his life has been meaningful. The milestone birthday has also cast a spotlight on his future succession plans. The Dalai Lama confirmed the institution will continue. However, he stated that his office, not the Chinese government, will handle the process of finding his reincarnation. This ensures his spiritual legacy does not get lost in translation with Beijing. Meanwhile, the BRICS group of nations wrapped up its summit in Brazil. They put up a united front, but some might say it was missing a few key building blocks. In their final declaration, the nations condemned rising unilateral trade tariffs. This move prompted a sharp retort from the United States with threats of its own. They also addressed Middle East tensions. They condemned recent attacks on Iran and expressed grave concern for the crisis in Gaza. However, the event was notably overshadowed by the absence of Chinese President Xi Jinping and the virtual-only attendance of Vladimir Putin of Russia. This led some analysts to believe the bloc was trying to avoid building a wall of opposition to the current United States administration. And in sports, there is a major league shakeup in the capital city of the nation. The Washington Nationals have permanently benched manager Dave Martinez and general manager Mike Rizzo. The team is in last place. It is suffering through its 6th straight losing season. This comes since their incredible 2019 World Series win. Team owner Mark Lerner said that while he is appreciative of the past, a fresh approach was needed. Rizzo built that championship team. Martinez is the winningest manager in team history. Both have officially been struck out. The firings come just a week before the Major League Baseball draft. The Nats hope their #1 pick will be a home run for their new leadership. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King with Claude Sonnet 4.0, Gemini Pro 2.5, Gemini Flash 2.5, and Google Cloud Text-to-Speech. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.